Hey, what's up, guys? It's MugenLord here, and today we're going to talk about Silent Hill 2. Now, Ben was supposed to talk about this game for quite some time, but I decided to just wait on it because it still wasn't really enough information to go off of. And now that we're getting closer and closer to the release date of this game, we have the Summer Game Fest, so we're starting to get a lot of gameplay, and we're starting to get a lot of glimpses of the environments, and many people are now dissecting and able to break it down quite a lot. And now I decided to say, okay, now's the perfect time to actually talk about it, because just like all remakes, you know, I'm a fan of Final Fantasy VII, so you know, when they remake Final Fantasy VII, me as a fan had a lot to say. And this the same thing with Silent Hill 2 fans of the Silent Hill franchise, and people who love this series are definitely weighing in on this. And there's quite a few people who are really bothered by this, really nervous about some of the changes, and that people feel as though that the developers really have no idea or have an understanding, you know, about these characters in the game itself because of some of the changes. But hold on, here's the surprising part. While everybody's blaming Blooper Team for a lot of these changes and everything that's going on, we're finding out that the Japanese team, the original team, wanted to make drastic changes. They're the ones that wanted to do the drastic changes, while Blooper Team fought tooth and nail to try to have as less changes as possible. So we definitely want to dive into this article. I want to weigh in on this and give you my opinion on this, because I think this is quite interesting, and I think this is something that I said before with Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy. It's not really the younger team or the younger developers who wants to change everything. It's the old heads. It's the original people that wants to go in and drastically change things. So it says, from Niche Gamer, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Japan team wanted changes, Bloober Team fought for less changes. And this is a surprise right here. So a new interview has revealed that the original team wanted changes on the Silent Hill 2 remake, while the remake team, Bloober Team, wanted to retain the feel of the horror classic. And this is crazy, man. We talked about this with Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy. It was the younger team that said, whoa, hold up, slow down. Let's keep everything intact. And it was the old heads. It was the original team that wanted to hack the shit out of Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy. This is what's going on here. So it says the new interview with Famitsu had many things to discuss, such as the game's new camera angle, user interface, and even possible changes from that of the original. Likely to be surprised of many longtime fans would be the fact that many members of the original development team aim to change drastically a lot of parts with the remake, but that remake developer Bloober Team were the ones to go against changes due to wanting to stick closer to how the original game. Now, I can tell right for a fact just by reading this article that Bloober Team are like fans. They're fans. And what's more important is fans are the ones that play these games. Fans are the ones that dissect these games. And as I said about the Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy, a lot of the new team that worked on the trilogy were a younger team. These were fans of Final Fantasy VII. They grew up playing it. And can you imagine going into the studio and now you're working with your favorite developer, you're working with your favorite producer and your favorite publisher, and just to turn around and say, yes, I'm working on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played this as a kid going up through school, and now I'm a developer working on a remake. Just to find out that your hero, who is a developer and a producer, comes into the studio and say, yo, we're going to make some drastic changes to this. And now you're looking like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Why are we doing this? And now you're going back and forth fighting with your favorite hero that created the game that you love as a child. And now they're coming in telling you that, no, we're going to do drastic changes. And you want to keep it intact and keep it the way you remember it growing up. And this would seem like it's going on here with Silent Hill Remake 2. You have Bloober Team, who's actually fans of Silent Hill 2, and now you have the original team, the original developers and everything, wanting them to drastically change it. And can you imagine, as a fan, now you're arguing with your favorite developers about keeping their game to the original source material? That is wild. So, as of a matter of fact, the Japanese staff, including Masahiro Ito, the designer who worked on the original version, and Akira Yamaka, the sound designer, said, we want to change this part. On the other hand, the Bloober Team had a lot of opinions like, no, we don't want to change this part. Producer Motoi Okamoto said he added, while opinions sometimes clash, in the end, we were able to incorporate the changes into the final version. I am sure that if you watch the trailer, you'll see that we have kept the good qualities of the original version while making it more modern. And here we go again. And this is the problem here. This is what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy, where Kitase and Nomura and them was explaining in an interview that they went back and forth with their younger staff and everything. So they had to come up with a compromise. They was able to try to satisfy the younger staff by keeping some of the original elements while they was able to incorporate their changes. And you can see it when you look at Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy, that you see that the game is not changing as much, and then that's when the changes come in. So apparently this is what's happening right here, that they had to come to a middle ground, and they had to make a compromise to cater to Bloober Team while at the same time able to cater to the original developers. And this is where the problem comes in, and that word modern gets people every time. When asked more about how classic games get remade for modern audience, Okamoto said the original creator, typically don't want to make the same thing. And that's the thing. A lot of these older developers, if they are remaking, they don't want to make the same thing. They want to create something different with the same thing. And that's where the clash comes in. Yes, the developer has their vision. They want to do certain things. But when you take a beloved classic and then you take it and you bastardize it, and what hurts it even more is it also appears that the developers themselves don't understand what they created in the past. It's like they missed the whole point when they make these drastic changes, and then all of a sudden it destroys the experience. It really does. And you like, you know what, I'm about to go back and play the original game, because when it comes to remakes are supposed to be the definitive experience, the definitive way to play this particular IP. And like I said, Resident Evil 1 Remake is a perfect example. That is a perfect remake, and it kept everything of the original attack while adding new things to it, while not tarnishing the original core elements of the original game. That is a definitive way. There's no reason to play the PS1 version of Resident Evil 1 when you have Resident Evil Remake and Silent Hill 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's supposed to be that definitive experience, but you can't call it a definitive experience when you drastically changing things and you bastardizing it, and it's no longer the original game. So, but in the end, thanks to the input of the Bloober Team, who are big fans of the original, as I said right here, yep, they're fans, we ended up with a game that highly respects the original. Well, that's debatable. We're going to have to wait and see when the game finally comes out. We had formed a development team entirely in Japan. It might have been completely a different remake. Oh, so they were saying that if they would have had a development team in Japan, it would have been a completely different remake. Yeah, that makes sense. One example of something the Japanese side of things wanted to have different was the age of the protagonist, James. Okamoto wanted to have him appear older compared to the original game, because players who enjoyed Silent Hill 2 back in the day have aged as well. But that doesn't make any sense. Just because they aged as well doesn't mean you have to age the character. People want to keep everything original. That just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. This can be clearly seen in his appearance when the remake was first announced. But now James is closer to his original age, which Okamoto admits he has begun to feel is the better choice. See, even he's like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have made that change. And and he went back to it because of that backlash. Fan backlash is important, guys. Never let down on giving your opinion. And you fans that did it, and it made them go back to do that change. And now even the original developers saying like, okay, maybe that was the best call, to just stick to the original. No shit. So while they have made the changes from past decisions to closer reflect the original, there's been online discussions about from fans about the character designs, particularly of Maria and Angela, having some differences viewed to less meaning from the original Silent Hill 2. Yes, that was the problem too. When Maria, people had issues with how much they drastically changed her character. And the thing is, Silent Hill 2, a lot of these characters were metaphors for a lot of things that were going, like psychological metaphors and everything that was found in the game. And them changing Maria, more so changing that character, it really destroyed, or it seemed like the developers themselves had missed the point of the character. Maria was a character who pretty much been through a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse. So she was a younger woman, but she looked so much older, was because of the abuse that she went through. But now this new character model of this character doesn't reflect that. And then I believe the other characters, Angela, I think she was like a prostitute or something like that. Because I have Silent Hill 2. Never finished it. I never even got that far in the game, because at the time when that game came out, I thought it was gonna be like Resident Evil, just more of a horror, but this psychological horror just wasn't my thing. So I haven't really got that far in that game. But I've seen a lot of people talk about it, play it, and fans like that. But it seems as though that the developers themselves has missed the point of their own game when they are switching up these characters like that. So a lot of fans are really iffy on it. And the last thing I want to talk about is actually the gameplay itself. It borrows a lot of those trends from what we see today, like these over-the-shoulder third-person shooters. And when it comes to Silent Hill is definitely a survival type of horror where ammo is very scarce, where you have to use melee attacks more than anything and save every last one of your bullets when it really counts the most. And you see the trailers is very action heavy and action oriented, when Silent Hill 2 was really never that way. So that really has a lot of people scratching their heads and everything like that. But we want to wait and see how this thing actually turns out. And it's going to be interesting when this game does release to see what the internet has to say about it. And I'll definitely be weighing in on it. And I definitely want to hear your thoughts if you're a Silent Hill 2 fan or a Silent Hill fan in general. And let me know which one of the Silent Hill entries was your favorite, or rank them for me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.